purpose of this semi-formal or very informal workshop is to sort of encourage more dialogue and discussion between our invited scholars and our local colleagues and students. I was expecting more students and colleagues. Okay, maybe Kenzie can help us with that because you are in charge of this project, right? So how could we, because there may be more students who are interested in this issue of either stateless persons or refugees or migration, irregular migration or regular migration, but under unequal treatment. So I think we need to make it very specific and explicit that we invite students and colleagues to participate because we will be having this dialogue regularly, okay, on. So that's a real pity that our discussion will be limited to a small group. Okay, so since now our postdoc will help us to really organize, right? So we could do that. And also among students, there are other events going on. We should also spread this news. But Malee Sunpuwan from Mahidol University, Population and Social Research, and also Mahidol Migration Center. Right? She has been involved in the study of migration and health research for more than 10 years. So I noticed that she was also very heavily involved with cases of HIV and AIDS, okay, prevention, perhaps also related to migrants. Okay, and she's also working on and very concerned with urban refugee. Okay, so this is her ongoing project. Okay. In Vietnam, no, in Bangkok. There are people from Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, also Rohingya, and those they are just there's a refugee scattered in different corners of Bangkok. Okay, a big city, but a different marketplace. Behind the marketplace, we see all these slum or clusters of there's a gathering of these migrants. So how to deal with this issue? How to really think, okay, as a citizen or in a civil society, how could we really deal with these issues is actually the focus of our project. Okay, we are not only working on the phenomenon of migrant laborers and these agencies, but we want to deal with why are they treated in this very unequal legal production of this unequal status. So I'm very happy to have Malee here. She actually has been traveling around quite much down south and also Hsinchu area, Taoyuan. Okay.
Kaohsiung,
Kaohsiung. Yeah.
Tainan, Zhongli.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Oh, good. It's getting better than and meeting with the different migrant shelters and NGOs, talking to people. So she has actually gathered a lot of information already, local knowledge already. So let's welcome her.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Joyce, for the nice introduction. And I think that is because on the day before yesterday, we have a screening. The screening that we're looking at the migrant or the refugee side. And for this study, we at the destination, how the people at the destination think about the people from other countries. And this is a very important issue because in Thailand, we have refugees for a long time, that from the Vietnamese and also from Cambodia during the time, during the Cold War, right? And after that, we also have along the border, Thai-Myanmar border, we also have the refugee camps, but the Thai government, they call it is the shelter for the displaced persons. There's no refugee category in Thailand because the Thai government tries to avoid that category because they don't want to give any assistance as the refugee. Otherwise they have to follow the refugee convention. That may make them, uncomfortable to talk about refugees. You cannot go to the government office and ask them about the refugee. You just only ask about the displaced person from Myanmar. This is the fact that happened in Thailand. And they call that one is the temporary shelter. How temporary it is, 30 years, 40 years, but it's still temporary shelter along the border. And for this one, that is, I'm going to talk about the background of the study, the research methodology, and also the major finding, and also the recommendations that is from our research team. And actually, the research team that include another Professor Sakharin is from my institute, and the researcher Khun Vipaporn, and also the consultant for this project is Professor Sunpuwan and Professor Abhichat Chamrakwitil. They are from the Mahindran Migration Center, is from the same institute. And in Thailand, as I mentioned, that is we are a host country for the refugees and migrants for about 3 decades, and mostly the migrant workers and the refugees are from our neighboring country, but the majority is from Myanmar. There is about 80% of them from Myanmar, and also have actually the number of the population in the camps vary between 100,000 to up to 150,000 sometimes. That before it was higher than this, and now it's quite a bit reduced. But actually the people think that after Aung San Suu Kyi became the power, they will have hope to go back. But just only a small portion of them go back to Myanmar. But the majority, that more than 80%, they're still in the camps along the border. And as I mentioned, that the Thai government have not ratified the Refugee Convention. For the migrant workers as well, we estimated for millions. There is about these numbers, but actually that is depending on we call it the approval from the cabinet in each year, how many migrant workers that will register in each year. But from our research for more than 10 years, I think that almost 15 years, we try to give the recommendation to the government that you need to allow all of the foreign people in the country to register, especially from our neighboring country. But sometimes they allow just only the migrant workers themselves, but sometimes they allow the followers to register as well. And then the number is quite fluctuated over time. And also it's depending on the demand of the employer side as well, that how many workers they need in each year. The number of the migrant workers actually is fluctuated year by year. But from the Our estimation in the last few years that we estimated from the 3 countries that is about 4 million, and half of them are non-registered. And the regularization process will happen almost every year and almost every 2 years, because they try to turn the living status of the illegal migrant to temporarily stay in Thailand for at least 2 years and then can renew for another 2 years. It means that the maximum that they can stay in Thailand is only 4 years, but in Taiwan I know that they allow for 12 years now, right? And 3 years each for, right?
Yeah, but we abolished that.
They have yeah, they can be extended.
Yeah.
So they can stay 12 or 14 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's quite longer than Thailand, because in the case of Thailand the maximum is 4 years. And now I think that maybe they have some idea to extension as well, since the labor shortage happened in Thailand because the change of the population structure, and we are going to be the age society.
The limit of 4 years is
2 years each, and then renew in another 2 years.
So the reason is not to let them apply for citizenship
No,
or
no,
residentship,
no.
Not
No,
like that.
no,
Just
because it's very hard to get the citizenship in
Not
Thailand.
citizenship, resident.
No, even the residents, the permanent residents also difficult as well. Except that is mostly they granted the permanent resident for the marriage case that got the highest proportion.
But Taiwan is our maximum is 10 years, right? Not over 10 years. You can have 3 years with extended.
12 years.
12
12 years for other category and 14 years for domestic worker.
So can they apply for resident?
No.
No. But it seems that Korea, they have a longer stay, right?
But that's not registered.
Huh?
Basically, they are undocumented worker.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they cannot be repeated.
Yeah, and maybe in different countries we have the different practices.
Yeah.
And in Thailand, as I mentioned, that actually I think that the employer association maybe try to force the government to extend or to allow the migrant worker to live longer in Thailand, because they also still need the migrant workers, especially for the low skill sector. I mean, especially in the 3D jobs that no Thai wants to do that. And for this project that we, as I mentioned, that we want to assess the perception or the opinion of the Thai people. How do they think about the migrant workers and the refugee? But the problem of the terms of refugees, as I mentioned earlier, that is because we have no refugee category in the Thai society. And before conducting the research, we discussed with the refugee expert in Thailand that work in the NGO and everything. The problem is that the people who not located in the camp location, I mean that in the country with the camp location, they don't know the terms refugee, the word refugee. They don't know, they have no idea who is refugee and why refugee, and even could not identify as refugee. And this is quite difficult, and we decided to conduct the research just only in the area or the province that the refugee camps located. And why there are many refugees and migrant workers in Thailand? Because after the independence of Burma during that time around 1942, and then after that in Myanmar they have the internal conflict, and for the post-independence, and also after that also the post-coup conflict, and it is uprising in around 1988. That is because of the prosecution as well. And then the ethnic minorities, I think that in some state, 100 of them were killed by the coup or the government, the Myanmar government during that time. And they fled from that one to seek the safe place along the border. And they set up in the camp along the border. It's very long, I'm going to show you, and this is the location of the refugee camps in Thailand. And you looking at this one, there is no province name here, but this one is the Mae Hong Son province. Mae Hong Son province is in the north of Thailand, and there are two camps located here. There is the Ban Mai Nai Soi and Ban Mae Suri. And the people, the refugee came from where? It's because the majority are from Kajin, Kaya, Mon, Taren, Thai, and Bago. This is the area. Have the political unrest in Myanmar, and the people escape from here and to stay along the camp. And another 5 camps. This one is Mae Rama Luang, Mae La Un, Mae La Umpiam, and Lupo. 5 camps are located in Tak province. And next to the central, this is the west of Thailand, and this is Kanchanaburi